Okay, so not all of my YA books fit, or all of my books in general fit upstairs. So I have a couple bookcases downstairs. This is my first one. It's kind of tall for my screen, but I'll start actually above it. I have a little magnetic board that has some fun swag and things that I've gotten from different books. And my first shelf, again, the ones that are upside down I have not read yet. Just kind of a mix. There's no really reason any are down here. Nightshade, that's my ARC, that's signed. Down here as opposed to upstairs. My very favorites are usually upstairs, but some of these I really like as well. I just don't have room for them all. Ranger's Apprentice, I really enjoy that series. I have to read 8 and 9. My middle schoolers love it, so I try and keep up on it. Iron King, there's that one. Meridian was good, I liked that. Robin McKinley, I love her. That's she and her husband Peter Dickinson did that short story collection. I haven't read that one yet. Ruined was one I really enjoyed. Fablehaven is really popular with my middle schoolers. I've got to read that. The Maximum Ride series, the rest of that series is at school. My middle schoolers borrow it. Vampire Diaries, Jordan Sonnenblick, Zen and the Art of Faking It. After Ever After just won the Schneider Family Award. I love his books, Drums, Girls, and Dangerous Pie, Notes from the Midnight Driver. Those ones are at school again. I loan them out to my middle schoolers. I'm going to do a bit of manga. I used to have, the next bookshelf I'm going to show you used to be full of just manga, and I sold most of it just because I found that I don't really read them again. On to the next downstairs shelf. So this is the shelf that used to be covered with manga. Right now there's a lot of space on it. Like I said, I sold most of that and just leaving some room. So right now it's got more books for adults. Some go either way, but again, Sherman Alexie, I love him. Watership Down. Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil is one of my favorites. Meg Cabot, I love her. Water Lily. This is one that I read in a Native American literature class I took. It's an absolutely beautiful story of a Lakota girl and her life, kind of what it would be like to be a woman, a Lakota woman. So that's very, very interesting. Louise Erdrich, another Native American author. Neil Gaiman. Seabiscuit. That was actually one of the first books my mom ever read. She used to hate to read, and now she reads all the time, so I ran out and bought it right away so I could read it too. Kite Runner, John Irving, A Prayer for Owen Meany, one of my very favorites. Barbara Kingsolver, The Poisonwood Bible, I love that one. Gabriel Garcia Marquez, Love in the Time of Cholera, that one was really good. Anne Patchett, I like her, Bel Canto, and Run. I have another one of hers, and I don't know where it is now that I look at that. The Godfather, great book. David Sedaris, he's hilarious. Okay, so yes, there is a Willie Nelson autobiography back there. One of my library aides bought it for me as a joke because I do love Willie Nelson, but I have not read his book. And then down here are some ARCs that are either already released or I've already read or just wanted to put down here. They're not on my list to read upstairs. And these are more educational text since I am a school librarian and teacher. So that is this somewhat empty bookshelf, the one that has room to grow. I have a couple more bookshelves downstairs that we will go look at now. Alright, this bookshelf, it's in my spare bedroom, which is kind of messy, so I can't fit the whole thing in without showing you the huge mess, not just a little bit of it. On the top here we have Georgette Heyer. She writes a lot of Regency. She was writing in the 20s, but she writes a lot of Regency romance. I always say fans of Jane Austen might like her stories. And then we go into just some, what I would consider classics. Sorry, there's a bit of a reflection, but sometimes these doors fall off when I open them, so I don't want to open them and have that happen. Next is my Pride and Prejudice / Jane Austen obsession. This set right here are, well, I can't get any closer, are, alright, I'm going to open this and pray it doesn't fall off. Alright, this set right here are Jane Austen's writings, and then the rest of them, like these two over here, and pretty much all of these are retellings of Pride and Prejudice. This one's a graphic novel version. It's really, really pretty. Just kind of fun. I really like these three right here. Just a fun. They're not all great, but it's just interesting, and it's kind of like candy. I think it's fun. Alright, let's see here. I'm going to try to open the one below it. These are mostly I guess Christian living / Christian fiction or short stories. Ted Dekker, I really like him. Lori Wick, she makes me cry, but they're fun kind of Christian romance stories. And down here, this bottom one, I'm not even going to get any closer because you can't read all the titles. It's mostly picture books, children's books. So that is the bookcase in my spare bedroom. Alright, this bookcase holds mostly older books, antiques, and just some that I like to collect. This top row, actually I guess I wasn't gonna open this, but I will. This top row is it starts out with Jean Stratton Porter. I mentioned her before. She lived in Indiana. She's probably most well known for Girl of the Limberlost, that first one there. They're fun stories, a lot of nature in them. Just kind of feel good reads. I would say Girl of the Limberlost, Freckles, and The Magic Garden are my favorites of hers. And then again, we have more copies of Heidi and Heidi Grows Up. And then on the end there, Anne of Green Gables, one of my favorites. This is a really awkwardly sized shelf. And it looks like you should be able to move them, but I can't get them to move. So it's kind of, I can't really stand books up here. There's not a ton. There's Heidi. And then this is the book Stardust by Neil Gaiman. Was originally a series of graphic novels, or for, I guess, yeah, comic books. And so this is the comic book set of Neil Gaiman's Stardust, all right there. Just another set of older books. Some of them I just think are gorgeous, like the Clarabelle's love story. I've never read that. I just think it's really pretty. Five Little Peppers and How They Grew, Rebecca of Sunnybrook Farm, Shakespeare, Peter Pan, another copy of Freckles. Follow My Leader is one that my my aunt used to read to my cousin and I when we were younger. Sabrina Fair, Audrey Hepburn did a movie from that. Animal Stories, that has a copy of Rikki Tikki Tavi that my dad used to read to me when I was a little girl. Just some more old ones. This doll here is something my aunt was going to give me for my birthday when I was a little girl. When you flip it over, you turn the dress inside out, and then you have, it's Red Riding Hood, and then it turns into Grandma. Or the Wolf. And she gave one to my sister, and I was terrified of it. So my aunt decided to keep it and not give it to me. And then she found it. She was going to give it to me when I was older, and she found it last year. So last year she gave it to me for my birthday. That's kind of special to me. And then on this bottom there are just some little smaller ones, poems. And these journals were made through the WPA when Roosevelt did that to kind of help us get out of the Great Depression. And they were my grandmother's. As you can see there, it's a WPA. Hold on, sorry. WPA handcraft in Milwaukee State Teachers College, which is where my grandmother went to college to become a teacher. So it's kind of neat to have those there as well. So this is kind of my special books / collect ones that I collect. This is just kind of my mass media trade paperbacks, romance, historical romance, a little sci-fi. Sophie Jordan there and Sarah McLean, I love them. Sherwood Smith, PC Cast. There's another copy of Beauty by Robin McKinley, so that's the second copy that I have. And then I'm reading the Sherry Kohler books, which is another name of Sophie Jordan's that she writes under. So yeah, this again used to have a lot more books, but I sold them because I find that I don't read them very often. On to the very last bookcase. Okay, this one's kind of dark. Sorry, there's not great lighting in my room. This is actually the first bookcase I had, and it has, books have changed on it since then. It has some series books and just some other special ones. The top one, part of it is just pictures, so I will show you the ones we have. We have the Sookie Stackhouse novels, and then Anne of Green Gables, some of my very favorites. And we go into the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. I love the Chronicles of Narnia series. Down here, again, some more older books, Jean Stratton Porter. Most of those are hers again. Lord of the Rings, Mitch Albom's books. Maya Angelou, that has the Phenomenal Woman in it. Best Loved Poems, which has the poem If by Rudyard Kipling in it, which is one of my favorites. And then there's actually my dad's Bible from when he was growing up. And then this bottom shelf, Silverstein, some of my favorite paperbacks. A third copy of Beauty by Robin McKinley. Obviously, I like those. The newest Sookie Stackhouse. So that is the final bookcase that I have.